Welcome to this VibePro 6 tutorial video. This one is on setting up and actually using routes in the new VibePro. This is one of the big features that we've emphasized in this release, and it's been completely overhauled and improved in many numerous ways. So here's the launch screen. To get into routes, simply hit that second icon there, routes measurements. And now you'll see a pre-existing route that I have set up already. Now before we dive into this, let me just show you the organizational aspect here. So on the top layer you have plant/areas. These will be all of the plants and areas that you can divide up then into machines and then measuring points. So that is the organization you have. With all of these different areas, it will reflect your order entry as far as the order you see things in. So even though these are numerical, you'll notice when I enter 0001 coming up soon, it'll go on the very bottom of this list. So keep that in mind when you're setting up your both plants and machines. So let me now enter that 0001 and I'll hit plus, and that'll be now added to the bottom of this list for plant/areas. And that text will stay there, so I can hit plus again if I want to add something similar. So here we'll see the screen where I've now added 001, and I can dive into that to add machines and different assets that I want to be tracked. So now I'm in machines and I'm adding a new machine there, and I'm adding also one similar to it and just adding A to it. So I did not have to retype that. Instead I just hit plus and I add A to it and hit plus again to add that machine to it. As I said, it is order entry as far as that list is concerned. Now let's dive into measuring points. I'm going to do two H1 points. You just hit H1, type in H1 and hit twice. Then you'll see both of those are set for velocity. So a lot of people like to do velocity and acceleration, and we're going to get to editing that in a second. But as a time saver, you can type in H1, just hit plus plus, and type in V1, hit plus plus. So with that said, let's hit the Edit Settings button on the top right there, and this will let you tap on either H1 points and edit those settings for velocity and many other things. So let's do that now. Now we are in that measuring point in the Edit Settings. You'll see this big overview of what is possible here. So let me walk you through what is available on this screen. So on this screen, you'll see first and foremost the plant/area, then the machine, and then the measuring point. It's all in the top left. Right underneath that is the point of the measurement point, picture of that measurement point. So you can take a picture of that or pull it up from your photo library. And on the right side, we have all these different settings here. First is vibration parameter. You can choose either velocity or acceleration. You have the Fmax. Basically, this will, at 600 kcpm, this will allow you to capture more data. Your databases will get bigger in size, but they will be able to capture more data when you choose it to be that. You also have bearing model. You have bearing fault frequencies, danger thresholds, and some other things we'll get into in a second here. So now I'm in FFmax. I change it to 300 kcpm, and that'll measure a little bit more than that, 60 kcpm. I've also changed the RPM marker, and that will put a marker at that RPM so I know to watch out when I'm at my spectrum. I'm now at the bearing model. So if you know the bearing model, that's fantastic, because if you do, it'll automatically enter the bearing fault frequencies in CPM. So if you know it, enter it. If you don't, you can add those data points manually. So now you'll see those data points filled in for the bearing fault frequencies. And now if I click on select alert and danger thresholds, it'll give you this nice chart where you're able to select which one you want. Below that is a temperature threshold. So if you use the node, you're able to select a temperature threshold and it will alert you when it's past that. So here is the final kind of view of your measurement point here. I've got a nice picture of the asset. In many cases, you might want to actually do where you're mounting the accelerometer. But either way, I've got all the information inputted. When the temperature reaches that threshold, I'll be alerted. And as well as the RPM marker is really handy to put in there, as well as increasing that Fmax to whatever you want to record. So with that said, let's get out of there. Let's hit save and back. If you cancel, that'll all be deleted. So hit save and back, and we'll do the same thing for the other mark and and you'll have to do this for every measurement point. Now let's actually go in and take a reading. So all you do is click on the measurement point, go in your spectrum, and hit save and back. So you do that for every single one. You want to do a quick data capture of just choose the measurement point, and you'll be launched into the spectrum and hit save and back. Now this time, we're actually going to get a report because we found something kind of interesting that we want to send off to somebody. So if we hit report, we can get two different spectrums right there, and they'll pop up there in our report, along with a map, a photo, any notes we have, and we're able to either email that report out or save it to the report manager. So if you hit save report, you type in the name of the report, and let's do that and go to the main screen with report manager. Let's hit report manager, and that is the listing of all the reports we have captured so far, and you can see the PDF right next to it, which is also emailable right from this report manager. So you can gather up all these reports, and when you're in a better internet area, you can email those reports out to whoever needs those. So that is the basic overview of what is possible in the routes. There's a little bit more that can be done as far as linking personnel to certain measurement points, that kind of stuff. But that is the basics for today. We'll dive into more advanced things at a future video. So hopefully this has been helpful. Some things to keep in mind with these routes. Once again, that order entry is important. It will remain locked to whatever order you put them in. And I would highly recommend going through your different measurement points and making sure all of that data is correct, as you'll have a much better experience with thresholds being marked and different markers being in there as well.